Buckingham Palace is aging as fast as the monarchy, and now that the Queen will never return to live in this 775-room palace, what will happen to the massive royal family home? Buckingham has served many purposes over the years, but some think its glory days are behind it. Let's take a tour of Buckingham Palace for an inside look at where the royals used to call home.
You see, it's much smaller, isn't it?
Number 1. The Queen moving to her forever home gives us the perfect opportunity to turn Buckingham Palace into a big Tesco. At 829,000 square feet, Buckingham Palace is a truly massive masterpiece in the middle of London, UK. The palace's sprawling 775 rooms include 19 staterooms, 92 offices, along with many bedrooms, guest rooms, staff apartments, and bathrooms. Outside, the gardens cover over 39 acres containing wildflowers, trees, walking paths, and a 3-acre lake. Number 2. 775 rooms at Buckingham Palace, apparently. It was revealed that following the passing of Prince Philip, the Queen wouldn't be returning to live at Buckingham Palace. She's been staying cozy at her homier apartments at Windsor Castle. Following lockdowns during the pandemic in 2020, Queen Elizabeth made a permanent move to Windsor and is abandoning the Royal HQ in London to other uses. But Buckingham isn't only a home for the Queen. The palace features 52 royal and guest bedrooms and 72 bathrooms, and the massive house still plays primary residence to royals like Prince Edward and Sophie, Countess of Wessex, Princess Anne, and the Duke of York. Number 3. Congratulations, Sir Paul McCartney, who has been made a Companion of Honor at Buckingham Palace today. One of the most used rooms in the palace is the beloved music room. The music room at Buckingham Palace has hosted many events throughout history, including the christening of the Queen's 4 children. Queen Elizabeth is a fan of music, and over the years, the monarchy has awarded honors to many musicians, including Paul McCartney, Louis Armstrong, Elton John, Adele, and Ellie Goulding. Number 4. Tom Hiddleston at the Royal Marsden Cancer Charity Dinner in Buckingham Palace, June 14, 2018. If you happen to be invited for dinner at the palace, there's a good chance you'll get to see the Palace Ballroom, where dinners and banquets take place. The massive hall features tall ceilings, red carpets, and stately artwork decorating the walls. State George's Hall and the State Dining Room also regularly host guests from around the world. Not a fork will be out of place, with a staff member even taking the time to measure the distance between each place setting. Just remember, dinner takes place promptly at 8 p.m. Don't be late. Number 5. Secret wedding of Princess Beatrice of York and Edoardo Mapelli Mozzi at the Royal Chapel of All Saints at Royal Lodge, Windsor. The Queen and her family don't have to go very far if they don't feel like it, and attending Sunday services at church is included. Buckingham Palace is equipped with its own chapel where royals and the palace's staff can do their faithful duty without ever leaving the premises. It was installed in 1844 by Queen Victoria and relocated in 1940 after a German bombing. The romantic garden chapel is also where Princess Beatrice of York tied the knot in an intimate ceremony back in 2020. Number 6. Sometimes, email just isn't an option, especially when you're the Queen. But when the royals living at Buckingham Palace need to send a letter or pay a bill, they can just skip over their own private post office. Buckingham Palace has everything built in and functions as its own little village, complete with a place to mail your post. Number 7. And how much did the Buckingham Palace renovations cost again? At $1.5 billion. Buckingham Palace's most expensive home in Europe, but it's not without its major issues. The palace recently went under some major renovations, which some British folks were not too happy about. With part of the reno cost coming out of civilian taxes, some wondered why they were responsible for the monarchy's overly opulent digs. The project, which is expected to be completed by 2027, is budgeted at $500 million. Some of the areas are getting a facelift, include the deteriorating picture gallery and the grand entrance, where groups of tourists pass through on a daily basis. Number 8. The Obamas spent the night at Buckingham Palace. They were granted a full state visit. It's not all fun and games at Buckingham Palace, especially for the Queen, who has to work daily to stay on top of national and worldwide issues in politics. The palace is fitted with 19 staterooms for welcoming dignitaries and world leaders. It's always a big deal when a US president is invited for a meeting with the Queen. Sure, those meetings are a bit awkward sometimes, but there are so many rules and protocols to remember that guests are bound to get something wrong. There are also 92 offices for the palace officials to get all that boring paperwork done. Number 9. Queen Elizabeth meets Marilyn Monroe and Victor Mature, October 1956. Over the years, and especially throughout the reign of Queen Elizabeth, Buckingham Palace has hosted many famous celebs, musicians, and popular world leaders. Stars like Angelina Jolie, David Beckham, Elizabeth Taylor, Marilyn Monroe have all been honored guests of the Queen. To this day, people still talk about Marilyn's low-cut gown worn for her royal rendezvous back in 1956. In 1997, the Spice Girls were invited for a performance. Number 10. The British signs are courteous and explain the why behind their rules. Life at Buckingham Palace can be pretty strict. There are some serious rules that royals and guests have to follow at Buckingham Palace. For one, there's no casual Friday, and everyone has to adhere to the formal dress code at all times. Even married couples are expected to refrain from showing PDA, and whenever the Queen stands up, you better do the same. Number 11. While thousands of tourists visit Buckingham Palace each year, few actually know the history attached to the beautiful landmark. Although it's no longer the Queen's main home, it still stands as an important symbol of the British monarchy. The land where the palace stands has been owned by the royal family for over 400 years, and the various buildings on the grounds were constructed over time throughout the 1700s and 1800s. It was in 1845 that Queen Victoria complained she lacked space to entertain foreign leaders, and thus the palace's great halls, guest rooms, and staterooms were constructed. Number 12. The Queen is fine. She's just filming a Home Alone movie where the royal family leaves her at Buckingham. The crown jewels are usually stored for royal occasions, such as weddings and jubilees. What we can say for sure is that the Queen's collection of gems and jewels is unmatched. Along with the sparkly, the palace is also home to tons of art. The principal corridor alone is home to over 3,000 pieces of artwork. The picture gallery, designed in the 1820s, showcases some of the Queen's collection. Number 13. Now that the Queen has moved out of Buckingham Palace, will there still be a changing of the guards? With so much to protect on the inside, security at Buckingham is tight. The palace is surrounded by the Queen's royal guards, who stand to protect the grounds at all hours of the day. The 11 o'clock changing of the guards has become a big tourist attraction for London visitors who line up to see the stern-faced guards marching to their posts. A famous security breach years ago meant one civilian breaking in undetected and actually getting into the Queen's room while she slept. We're positive they won't let that happen again. Number 14. If you have a sibling, you know what this is like. We're all Princess Beatrice. When royal family members get married, it's kind of a big deal. Buckingham Palace has been the site of many weddings over the years, including Kate and William, Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson, Prince Charles and Princess Diana, and Princess Anne and Mark Phillips. Now, the Queen is seeing a new business opportunity, and the royal family is toying with the idea of renting out the space as a public wedding venue. Who wouldn't want to get hitched at the palace? Talk about living out my Cinderella fantasies. Number 15. When Victoria became queen in 1837, there were no bathrooms in Buckingham Palace. There's no worry about waiting for the washroom when you're staying at Buckingham Palace.
Not the bathroom. Everybody, go outside! I'm serious!
Out of the many, many rooms literally fit for a queen, the palace has 78 working bathrooms for royals, staff, and guests. But that wasn't always the case. Back in the days of Queen Victoria, the palace actually had no indoor plumbing or toilets. That's right. Modern plumbing and bathrooms were only installed shortly before Queen Elizabeth took up her reign. Number 16. Duchess of Cambridge, Queen of Fashion. We've seen it coming for a while. With a new generation of royal leaders, the monarchy will likely see some changes, including the scale and operation of Buckingham Palace.
By the way, you be careful what you say now.
Kate has some plans for the palace. It was speculated that Kate and Prince William would move to the big house before Prince Charles takes the throne. It makes sense. Who knows when the pair will end up first in line? She may not be queen for a while, but at least she's been dubbed the Queen of Fashion. Number 17. Never go to a doctor whose office plants have died. Buckingham Palace even has its own doctor's office. The Royal Mews Surgery Clinic is found on the ground of Buckingham and is run by the Queen's private GP, Dr. Timothy Evans. The royal family, of course, are treated privately by their preferred doctors, but the on-site clinic offers NHS healthcare to the royal staff members who work at the palace. Number 18. In a room which previously served as a conservatory, King George VI commissions a swimming pool in 1938. He wanted Princess Margaret and Elizabeth to have privacy while taking swimming lessons.
It was a great achievement, and I was very proud to wear the badge on the front of my swimming suit.
In addition to a place to do some laps, Buckingham also has its own cinema. Just like the big celeb homes in Hollywood, the Queen has her very own private movie theater. Oh, and don't forget about the ATM machine. Number 19. I swear you could task a man with cleaning the whole of Buckingham Palace and he'd still come back after 5 minutes claiming it was done. Running a massive house like Buckingham Palace is no joke. Daily cleaning, serving, and upkeep are required to keep it in shipshape. It takes about 400 people working every day. Much of the palace's square footage is dedicated to workers, with 188 staff rooms for the household staff. The royal household also offers opportunities for workers in various fields to get internships and entry-level positions working at the palace. Number 20. Really hope the Queen thanks us for paying for Buckingham Palace renovations in this speech. With so many funds being sunk into the aging palace, some Brits and citizens around the world are wondering how long we can really keep it up. Buckingham Palace has seen better days, and the cost to keep up with renovations is extensive. Whether Charles and whoever follows him will make major changes to the royal headquarters is still uncertain. Let us know your thoughts on Buckingham in the comments, and subscribe to The Things Celebrity for more about big, gorgeous mansions and the world's most interesting people.